Welcome back to the Manor Entropians. Julian McBain here, and today we are doing our mining. And this is our second attempt at mining, because apparently I did a whole video with the camera stretched in the wrong direction, because as you all know, I am doing a Fallout New Vegas run on stream, and the sizing of the screen is different from Entropia Universe. So I have to check it every time, and I completely forgot to, and so now we had to start this one over. So, okay. Tonight we're going to obviously be talking about mining. It is one of the big three professions in Entropia. And it is actually really important. And I think it's underappreciated by quite a few people. Mining is what really digs up all of the stuff we need to make all of the things that we need. And just like real life miners, I think miners go completely unappreciated or underappreciated. And there's a couple reasons for it. First of all, mining is very mechanical. Which means you spend your time running around dropping probes and hoping that you will dig up ores or end matters, or if you're a treasure hunter, treasures. It's not like mobs where you tow it with something and you're just going at it, and there's a little technique involved, and you're hoping you get the win, and you might die. Frankly, in my opinion, and I'm not saying this to rag on miners, compared to hunting, mining is far more dull. Now, part of that's because I'm a really low-level miner. I'm still using TT finders. But part of it's because there's no danger, unless you're deliberately mining in areas that are packed with mobs, which a lot of people don't do. Here's the thing, though. Mining is where a lot of your markup is at. And let's go with a case in point. As you can see, I've been mining a bit already. I actually did this whole thing once, like I said, and it got fucked up, so here we are. Mysterium stone is the most common item you mine, or that I pull up when I mine. Has 103.62% markup. Animal muscle oil is, on average, the most common thing that I get when hunting. It has a 101% markup. Do we see the difference here? Doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a huge difference over time. Then you get something like this Acetylenius liquid, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and it's got 134% markup. Okay? This isn't rocket science. Oh, apparently we've got a list deed that we're missing. Okay. So here's the mechanics of mining. First off, in order to mine, you need 3 tools. You need finders, an excavator, and probes. These aren't alien probes. You're not going to be sticking it in people's butts. These are ground probes. And they drive themselves into the ground to look for the materials. You know what? Let's just summon this. I don't even know where this went. Oh, we're too far away. I must have left it behind. Oh, you know what it is? I probably left it back when I was, when I got disconnected. Because I actually DC'd at the end of my last attempt. So let's see if we can't locate this. Show the sucker on map. Oh, wow. It's way the fuck back there. How much time do we have before this dies? Okay, we got half an hour. So when you're dropping probes, you have... Oh, apparently that one's finally died. 3 categories you can really go after. Category number 1 is, are you kidding me? Ores. That's this one here. Then you have energy matter. Third off is treasure. Now, currently treasure is only available in the Arcadia system. So Arcadia, Arcadia Moon, and Arcadia Underground. When you drop probes, it searches, and sometimes it brings up ores, and sometimes it brings up, or one of the, not necessarily ores, it'll either bring up an ore, an end matter, or nothing, right? If you're searching for treasure, it might bring up treasure. You can see it just drives that sucker right into the ground. If you find something, it creates a mining deed or a mineral resource deed. That gives you the exclusive access to that particular mineral until it expires. The bigger the resource drop, the longer that is. I believe the shortest time period for it is 1 hour. If it expires, that resource disappears. You lost your money. So you want to pay attention to when you get those things. Now, there is a lot of finesse to doing mining, at least according to some of the miners I've seen. And I've caught some flack for the way that I mine. See, I have a certain technique I use when I mine. And I'm not saying it's good, but it works for me. There are people out there who mining is what they do. And they have techniques for it, and they have a system, and they have all of the finders, and they know where all the depths are. And you've got the Little Big Mining blog out there. I don't use that. I don't want any of the information that I have put up anywhere for a couple of reasons. One, if I find a really hot spot, like most Entropians, I'm going to take the time to, like, really go for it there, right? You know, there was a time when I'm hunting, and it works for hunting as much as it does for anything else. But here's what I generally do. And I kind of broke my own rule here on this one. If I find one, I'm going to keep going. And I'm just going to keep dropping probes. And I drop probes as close together as I can. Not necessarily on top of each other, but like I'm going to drop a probe, I'm going to keep running, I'm going to drop a probe, I'm going to keep running, and just as soon as it recycles, I'm going to let it recycle. For some people, that's a waste of cash. And I can see why, because there is a certain amount of overlap between probe areas. But like here, we got those two, which was immediately after the last two we just mined up. I'm going to see if we can do it again. And again. And we're dry. I've actually had a lot of success doing this. Now, does that make me the most efficient miner? Eh, probably not. I'm still figuring this shit out. Are you kidding me? We're not dropping down there. We're going to grab the other two, and then we'll come back and summon this one. So, it creates these resource deeds, which give you exclusive access to that particular resource, and then it disappears after a set length of time. Once you're done dropping probes and you have one, you pull out your excavator and you excavate the resource. After you get enough of that resource, you can of course sell it on the auction house. Now, like all other materials, the minimum amount you want to put on the auction house is 50 ped. The maximum, I believe, last I checked, was 200 ped at a go. Once you get beyond that, it makes it hard for a lot of players to be able to purchase it. I mean, let's face it, 200 ped worth of material in TT value. That's just in TT value. 200 ped is 20 bucks. That's not nothing for an in-game asset. So you're definitely going to want to, you know, curtail how much you want to throw into a single stack. But what it does do is creates this opportunity for you to sell these, and these have a much higher markup. So what should you mine for? For a long time, I mined for just N matters. Part of the reason is because it had the lowest cost. N matters only cost 1 probe per drop. Ores cost 2 probes per drop, and treasures cost 3 probes per drop. Now, I learned after the fact that ores are where the real markup is. But you're also dropping twice as many probes. 3 times if you're also hunting for N matters. So it's a trade-off. That being said, I believe it's a worthwhile trade-off. In the time that I've gone back to mining for both ores and N matters, I have had a lot more success overall. I have not yet been able to take a lot of this to market yet. But I see where there would be that usefulness in doing both. And this is what I get for not listening to Serial Overdrive when I try what his specialty is. At least in my opinion, this is probably his specialty, is mining. Because a lot of his videos in Entropia Universe are mining, right? And he'll do these high stakes runs. I don't have the skills for that shit. Not in mining. Hunting, I'll go out there and I'll go after a mob that I have no business fighting. And I'll just heal through it knowing I'm just burning cash. But it's just the challenge. It's the fun. Mining, you don't want to do shit like that. Mining, you want to play it pretty conservative because it's the closest thing in EU to a slot machine. You put your coin in, that's dropping the probe, and you see what you get. Now, it still follows the same rules as all of EU, where there's a certain amount of return you get for a certain amount of drop. It's not quite as nuanced as hunting because you don't have those looter skills, but it's still based on your mining skill, on your profession, on this, on that. It all matters. So it's just a matter of getting the... Holy shit, we're getting a pretty good drop set here. How many? 4. Are we going for 5? No. So it just comes down to figuring out your technique, figuring out where to drop and what depths to drop at in the area you're in. And there are, and what I mean by that is that every finder has a different depth range. So, as an example, we're going to pull one of the dead ones up. This is an Initiate's finder. It's a TT finder. It's functionally identical to the ones you get on Calypso. It has a depth find range of 104.5 average. This is an F101. This is a much more professional mining tool that I picked up back when I thought I was cool enough to use it. Its average search depth is more than twice that at 263.7. It goes, I have seen all the way to F105 or 106. Each one has its own depth. In certain areas, you're going to find that the depth you're looking for is deeper or shallower. And I don't know how much that plays into it, but I have reason to believe that the depth actually makes a difference. They wouldn't produce all of these different finders if they didn't. They wouldn't have different depths on the finders, I should say. So, okay. If you want to get into mining, what do you do? Mining is a cash-heavy upfront process. Now, it's relative, but no more than hunting. Basically, you're going to have to put some in. You buy your finders, you buy your probes, you buy your excavator. You go out and you just start dropping probes. Eventually, you'll become more and more efficient on each probe drop based on your mining skills and professions. Is that going to be fast? No. And unlike hunting, you don't have the same challenge rating where you have to figure out whether or not you can take the mob. You just go out there, you drop probes, you collect loots. I actually find it very relaxing. It's a great thing to do when you don't want to pay attention to your health bar. Right? If you just want to go out there and do the thing, You grab some probes, grab some finders, go out there, and just start dropping probes. And that's it. And that's it. And it's good stuff. And you're going to have a similar rate of return for the same skill level in hunting. So like, okay, I'm super low level mining, but my rate of return on my low level mining is very similar to what it was when I was hunting at the same level. And that's what it comes down to. That's not what I wanted. Show me my map. There it is. As you go through, take notes. If you're going to be super serious about mining, take notes. At this location, mine at this depth, use the finder for that depth. And it's going to take experimentation. Just like with hunting. It's going to take experimentation. When you are satisfied that you know an area well enough, you can just go back there and rinse and repeat. And you're basically collecting loot. Now, mining like hunting is not a zero-sum game, and it's not an automatically positive game. You're going to be putting a lot of money in before you get anything serious back. But where you succeed in mining is very similar to hunting. Oh, this one's dead too. And that's, the more skills you have, the better off you are. We probably just disconnected again, because that's been my night. Yep, and it disappeared. Okay, so we're disconnecting again. But ores make the things that give us what we need in order to do things like hunting. And matters power the things that we need in order to get around. The most famous of which, of course, is oil. See, I told you. Knew that was going to happen. It's been a hell of a night for connections tonight. I don't get it. Treasures, I don't know that there is an actual use for treasures at this point. But it doesn't matter. Go out there. Dig up what you can find. And see what you can do. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe down below. We are on the road to 13 million subscribers, one subscription at a time, so make sure you subscribe. As always, I appreciate the support, and we'll see you in the next one.